What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Comically Boston episode 301, and we are back with another Monday weekly nerdy news podcast, and it is an exciting one today. We are talking about the 77th Emmy Award winners. The Emmys were last night, so we're going to run through the winners, the 26 awards that were awarded towards the end of today's show, but there's a little bit of brief news, not too busy a news week, but there's some things I want to talk about. Some Avengers Doomsday news, some Marvel Zombies posters, and that's coming up very soon here in September. Maybe a first look at Dr. Doom, potentially, and some Batman 2 news. But let's jump right on into it today. I have a very busy day. I'm going to Monday Night Raw in Springfield, Mass later tonight with my buddy Langone, so I gotta get this video uploaded and posted as soon as possible. So let's jump right on into it. Starting out with some movie posters for a film from Paul Thomas Anderson that I definitely want to see. One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn. Apparently Steven Spielberg gave great praise for his role in this. Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall, Tiana Taylor. Oh, such a good cast, and that was an IMAX poster, and they also have this 70mm poster for, like, you know, to see it on 70mm IMAX film. But this film's coming out September 26th, right around the corner, and I'm not really sure what it's about, but it does look interesting. Comment below if you're gonna go see One Battle After Another. Another film that I want to see, mostly because of there's two Boston boys, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, starring in it, but this will be coming to Netflix January 16th, and this is a movie poster for the movie called The Rip. Count the money, count it again, count on no one. What a nice little tagline for that movie. But I think they're like cops, and the rip is them like going to, you know, a bust, and then they rip the money and take it for themselves type thing. I think that's at least what it's about. So to start 2026 for Netflix, I think that'll be a nice little January movie. I mean, there's not much going on in the middle of January, so yeah, I'll be definitely watching that film, and I'll see you guys in 2026 for that movie review. One of the best actresses out there right now, crushing it, is Sydney Sweeney, and she has a new movie coming out where she's playing a boxer, and this movie's titled CHRISTY, and this is based on a true story, and this is coming to theaters November 7th. Now, I'm not sure which boxer she's playing, Christy something. I'm not too familiar with female boxers, but Sydney Sweeney apparently put on a lot of muscle for this role, and I mean, this gorgeous woman, Sydney Sweeney, is playing a boxer where she's getting repeatedly punched in the face over and over. I think that's a nice role for Sydney Sweeney to take that's like not the pretty blonde girl that she's used to playing. You know, like she's a brunette, she's being a badass, she's doing tough shit, she's fighting. This movie, I think, will show a side to Sydney Sweeney that a lot of us didn't think she had. But if you know her, you know her. Like, she's a car girl. Like, she builds her own cars and Broncos and stuff like that. Like, she's a cool friggin' chick. Well, as well as being gorgeous as hell. So, yeah. Sydney Sweeney, new movie coming out in November. You guys gonna go check that out? Comment below. Let me know. Let's chat a little bit. You guys like to not chat. Anybody that doesn't comment, you're a pussy. Speaking of pussies, Tron Ares, Jared Leto's poster here for Tron Ares, and his blue eyes piercing through this dark red light. I don't know how that's possible, but coming to theaters October 10th, this is filmed for IMAX, and I mean, it looks interesting. The visual effects itself look really good, and I mean, this next guy being involved in it is a plus. Jeff Bridges coming back for Tron Ares, and he's got this blue poster, and he was there for what? The original Tron, Tron Legacy, and now this movie. Was there another Tron movie in there? Am I mistaken? Was there the original Tron, and then another movie called Tron, and then Tron Legacy? Is there 4 movies, or is this the third? Is this the trilogy, if you would? The longest trilogy ever? I mean, shit, the first Tron came out before there was even, like, computer graphics, wasn't it? Like, if you really know, you know. That movie looks crazy. Especially watching it today, like, wow. But jumping over into some DC news, originally James Mangold, the director of, you know, little things like Logan, Ford vs. Ferrari, he has, I think, another Star Wars movie that he might be doing. He just did A Complete Unknown with Timothée Chalamet, the Bob Dylan biopic, but he was set to do the Swamp Thing movie for DC a while ago, and I don't know if it would be directly connected to the DC universe or an Elseworld type thing, but either way, just the story of Swamp Thing James Mangold wanted to tell. And just recently on Twitter, Twitter account named DC Comic Fanboy tweeted at somebody like Vincent D'Onofrio, said, should Vincent D'Onofrio play Swamp Thing in James Gunn's DCU? And Vincent D'Onofrio tweeted back at him, yes, he should. So not only would Vincent D'Onofrio be willing to play a DC character in James Gunn's DCU, when being posed the question of Swamp Thing, he's down, you know? So think about this, though. James Mangold and Vincent D'Onofrio doing a sick, twisted, well, not sick, but, you know, a twisted type story like Swamp Thing, where this guy, I believe, I don't know the story entirely, but correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Swamp Thing was like a scientist, and then, you know, somehow, some way ends up getting morphed into this swamp creature, kind of like Hulk, you know, was a scientist, then all of a sudden he's this angry monster type thing. This is like DC's version. He's like a scientist, all of a sudden he's this swamp-like creature, and you know, there's like emotion in that, in personal story, where it's not just about this monster that looks like a swamp, you know, like. And Vincent D'Onofrio, I think, could bring that character to life very much so, but also kind of have this big presence. Like, I think he would get really jacked for it as well. Like, you know, this is also Kingpin in the DC, in the Marvel universe, you know, so I can't wait to see Daredevil Born Again season 2. But would you guys be here for a Vincent D'Onofrio Swamp Thing? I would be. Speaking about some more DC Studios stuff, James Gunn just last week confirmed Man of Tomorrow, and I talked about it a little bit last week, but Man of Tomorrow, with this art from Jim Lee, and described as a not Superman sequel, but a sequel to the next, you know, definitely like a follow-up to Superman and a follow-up to Peacemaker Season 2 with this. But apparently Peacemaker Season 2 is leading into this much more than we might think, and maybe Supergirl or whatever else might lead into this as well. But not a direct sequel, so not going to be Superman 2 Man of Tomorrow or Superman Man of Tomorrow, just titled Man of Tomorrow. And James Gunn was recently on the Howard Stern show on Sirius XM radio, and he had said to him, it's a story about Lex Luthor and Superman having to work together to a certain degree against a much bigger threat. And he said this when dodging the question of like who's going to be the villain. And I wondered if he was just going to be like, oh, it's Brainiac, you know, just tell us. Not yet. I'm sure James will tell us eventually, so we know. Or he might be playing that one close to the chest and keeping it secret. But from what we know of this movie already, Superman and Lex will be working together to a certain degree. So, like, granted, they might not be, you know, best of pals getting along, but they're still going to have to work together for humanity's sake against a much bigger threat. So it has to be like a Brainiac, you know what I mean? And Superman needs the biggest brain he knows. Who's that? Lex Luthor, you know? Like, and he also said that filming starts for that in April, and like the scripts are pretty much already done, and they're already going into pre-production with a release date for July of 2027. So like 2 years, almost to the date exactly, Superman will be getting a sequel. Can you guys tell me the last time that Marvel came out with a character and then less than 2 years or even 2 years later a sequel for that character came out? I can't remember a time that ever happened. Maybe Iron Man 1 and 2, but I want to say that was at least 3 years. If not, maybe 2, but there was some other films that came out in between it. Like, I mean, look at people like Yorgos Lanthimos. He's putting out a movie every goddamn year, so it's definitely possible. But if you want to put out these big CGI, Marvel, ginormous movies, Superman, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if those could come out every single year, but every 2 years? Sign me up, James Gunn. That sounds sick. But our final bit of DC news is Batman Part 2, and the scripts have been out and people have been talking about it and asking, you know, Matt Reeves, have you given the script to Robert Pattinson yet? And yeah, he said he did, and nobody had heard from Rob, but then a report came out today that Rob said he loved the script, and Colin Farrell recently had said that he loved the script and he's in it, but not very much, kind of like the first movie, he's just in it a little bit. There was also confirmed reports, and I don't know how confirmed, I think this might have came from Matt Reeves on like the carpet, or maybe even from Kristen Milioti, Sofia Falcone herself, and it was reported that Sofia Falcone will not be in the Batman Part 2. I don't know how serious that is, because not very many people have read that script, But there was also reports that they are potentially working on a Penguin season 2. So maybe they're, not putting her in the Batman part 2 so that they can do more of a Penguin season 2 for HBO and kind of have both of those going in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, and I'm sure the Penguin made them some money so that then, that helps them pay for the Batman, with this 5 years of in-between time between Batman part 1 and part 2, like crazy. But our girl Sofia Falcone we'll talk more about in the Emmy section because she was nominated and maybe won. Love my girl Kristen Milioti, and she crushed it as that role, but we'll talk more about the Penguin in that section of the video. Just switching up over to some Marvel stuff quickly. James Marsden recently was, I believe, at the Emmys as well, and he was talking to Variety on their red carpet. And when asked about returning as Cyclops for Avengers Doomsday, he said, "You can feel that there is something special going on." And he said that the world is ready for this movie, and the worlds are ready to collide. So to me, that means the X-Men world is finally ready to come back and collide with the Marvel world, or even say the Fantastic Four world, or whatever world Doctor Doom's from, or I don't know. But all I do know is that other things that came out from the Avengers Doomsday set, like there was a couple weeks ago, people were saying that the Avengers Doomsday cast was fighting, and just recently David Harbour was in an interview and saying how nobody's been fighting, but it's been crazy to see how many people and many stars, like you can make a movie with like 2 stars and a bunch of background actors. There's like 50 to 60 stars in this film. And then there's also background actors, right? So like there is so many people in Avengers Doomsday. It's about to be one of the biggest projects ever. But also for like someone like James Marsden and even Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler, people that didn't necessarily get like a ceremonious send-off from the X-Men films. So they're getting a bit of closure coming back to these movies, and I really like that. But so who knows what that film will look like. I'm hoping we get to see James Marsden in a comic book accurate Cyclops suit and a comic book accurate Nightcrawler suit. I think that would just be so sick and so earned and so needed. And, hopefully that they bump in against our Thunderbolt friends. And the Thunderbolts also just came out with a new poster for Disney Plus now streaming, and the Thunderbolts were like the fire in the sky, and you can see a little Bob in the sky up there as the rest of them are all looking up. But, just a weird like painting almost poster. But why are they still putting out Thunderbolts posters? Like they don't have more things that they could be doing, more promo and more marketing that they could be doing for, say, Marvel Zombies, their newest thing that's coming out. Now, granted, this is a new poster that's pretty sick with like the zombie face decaying and the zombie Scarlet Witch, zombie Wanda up there, and like the red moon turning everything red. She's probably going to be the big villain of Marvel Zombies. It is like a 4-part event. All episodes come out September 24th, but I think she's one of the most powerful characters when she's alive. When she's a zombie, oh boy, like I'm gonna have to brush up on that What If Zombies episode before I jump into that. But coming up in 9 days, we come out for Marvel Zombies. So stay tuned for that breakdown coming sometime next week. Now, there was some fan art a couple weeks ago that people were like, "Oh, this is so fake. I can't believe people are saying this is real or not." This looks pretty damn real. And from the place that it's from, I believe this is from Marvel Marketing in Shanghai. And this is how we get our first look at what Doctor Doom might look like in Avengers Doomsday. I don't know if this is confirmed or maybe just kind of like a rough edit of what he could look like type thing. But if this is how he looks like in Avengers Doomsday, he's got these big gauntlets, he's got this chainmail armor under the gauntlets going into like his outfit, and then he looks like he's got some armor like on his chest. He's got those 2 tassels holding on his cape, that Doom mask. Oh god, I don't know if this is going to be the actual look of him, but I do know that Robert Downey Jr. as Doom is going to blow the world apart, right? Like, even just his announcement, people went nuts hearing him announced as Dr. Doom, and when his face got revealed at Comic-Con, like, that was so crazy. And, the fact that we still don't know, like, how or why he's Dr. Doom, like, that better be a huge part of the movie, or like, in the trailers, like, why is this person, the last time we seen him, he died saving the day in Endgame, and now his face is Doctor Doom. Like, how is that possible? And if they don't explain it, and they're just casting Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom and moving on, that's dumb. You know, so they have to explain it. It has to be a pivotal part of the story, or it's just going to let a lot of people down and confuse a lot of people, you know? So, I don't know what's happening with that, but we need to see a trailer sooner rather than later. I mean, we're heading into December already. I'm thinking trailer for that probably Super Bowl, February-ish, and then by the time, you know, May, or even I think we might be pushed until December, actually, for Avengers Doomsday. Very confusing. I don't know what the date used to be or what it is now. It used to be May or July, and I think it might be December now, so we could be over a year out, actually, from Avengers Doomsday, but either way, Doomsday is coming next year, and I'm very excited, unless it gets delayed again, which who knows, it could, but that movie's going to be massive. But speaking of massive, the 77th Emmy Awards were just the other night, hosted by Nate Bargatze, and it was quite funny. He did this thing throughout the show where if they went longer than 45 seconds, their speech, every second that they went over, cost the Boys and Girls Club, who he was going to donate $100,000 to, it cost them $1,000 every second that their speech went over the 45 seconds that they were given. And if you went under, you could tack some time back on. So some people were going up there and speed talking and getting through it as fast as possible to get money for the Boys and Girls Club to get it back. And then some people were just oblivious and talking for as long as they possibly wanted and just costing the Boys and Girls Club money. So it's kind of funny as an audience. Every time somebody went to do a speech, it gave you this like, oh, are they going to cost the Boys and Girls Club money? Who knows? But then by the end of the night, they did cost a lot, right? Just to show the fact that they didn't stay on target and they didn't do the 45 seconds like they should have. They were something like a negative $150,000. So he was like, you guys owe me $150. I made out today. But then he ended up, you know, making it right, and he ended up donating $250,000 himself, and I believe $100,000 was from like the CBS or something. You know, so like $350,000 they ended up raising for, or donating for the Boys and Girls Club. I just thought that was sweet. But I love watching award shows like the Emmys or the Oscars or whatever it is, the BAFTAs. I watch all of them because I love to see my favorite actors and actresses, you know, dressed to the nines, going up to a fancy occasion type thing. And then I love to hear what they have to say, and I love watching shows that end up winning, and then you know, you're rooting for people like, say, one of the first winners was The Studio and Seth Rogen, so you're like, yay, I watched that. I like Seth Rogen. Yay, congratulations. You know, like that type of thing. But just to start it out, we haven't done this in a while on the Weekly Nerdy News or Comic with Boston. The baddies of the week go to Jenna Ortega for this crazy outfit she had on, and she looked phenomenal. But then when she got up there to like announce her, you know, her nominees, you know, she was a presenter, she got up there and the thing, you know, every little subtle movement she made, all the jewels kept clanging into each other, so it was just like clack, 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 until she just got so still and she delivered her line perfectly. I was like, wow, I would never be able to do that. That thing would be making so much noise all night. She probably had to sit really still, but she had that crazy look going on. And then Sydney Sweeney, my goodness, she just knows how to flaunt the blonde hair, the red dress, the titties. Like, Sydney Sweeney, you are so fucking beautiful. I love everything about you. But getting into the Emmy winners, lead actor in a comedy series went to Seth Rogen for The Studio. Lead actress in a comedy series went to Jean Smart for Hacks. Supporting actress in a drama series went to Catherine Lanassa for The Pit. Supporting actor in a drama series goes to Tramell Tillman for Severance. Hey, shout out Tramell Tillman. I loved his work in the most recent Mission Impossible movie, I think he was in. But he was very good on Severance, I heard. And Tramell Tillman became the first black man to win an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. Congratulations. Big news, or big, you know, milestones for this Emmys, for another young kid and for the first black male. So congratulations, Tramell Tillman, for giving a hell of a speech as well, you know, because he gave a great performance and won for his performance in Severance. But then when he got up there and gave his speech, it was one of the best speeches of the night. You know, he dedicated it to his mother. It was very sweet, but he also, you know, was very spoken and didn't, you know, wasn't reading from a piece of paper like, oh, this is the speech I had written down. Like, he had a speech prepared, and he just let it flow off his chest. And either way, shout out Tramell Tillman, he killed it. Lead actress in a drama series, so not a supporting, but a lead actress, also for Severance, Britt Lauer won. And she, you know, had a piece of paper with her speech written on it, but on the back of the speech it said, "Let me out," kind of like a Severance reference. I was like, I really got to get into that show. That show just was so weird that I never got into it, but I really should have. Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series goes to Hannah Einbinder for Hacks, and she gave one of the funniest speeches of the night. She went over, but I have a clip of her going over and then what she said that got one of the biggest cheers of the night.
Finally, I'll pay the difference, sorry. Finally, I just want to say, finally, go Birds, fuck ICE, and free Palestine. Thank you.
Hell yeah. And you can see what I was talking about as she was talking. She's like, oh fuck, I'll pay the difference. The money's going down for the Boys and Girls Club. I think they should continue to do that, even though they didn't actually, you know, be like, oh, well, you guys lost the Boys and Girls Club all that money, can't pay, sorry. You know, they ended up paying anyways. But I thought it made for a funny, you know, bit throughout the show. But I love it. She's like, oh shit, I'll pay the difference. But she's a big Eagles fan, so she goes, go Birds, fuck ICE, free Palestine. I support it. I support it full-heartedly. I loved her speech, and everyone else did too. Big cheers. But she cost the Boys and Girls Club money. Best Reality Competition Program went to Alan Cumming in The Traitors. I haven't watched it, but I've heard good things. And Alan Cumming, we were just talking about, going to be coming back as Nightcrawler in Avengers Doomsday. Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series went to Jeff Hiller for Somebody Somewhere, and that was a huge category. And I thought anybody else in that category should have won, but just because I don't know who Jeff Hiller is, but maybe he deserved it as well. He looked like a talented guy and maybe an unexpected guy, so it felt like a very deserved award going to Jeff. So congratulations to him, and anybody that's seen Somebody Somewhere, comment below. What's it like? What's it about? I don't know, but Jeff Hiller, congratulations. Directing of a comedy series went to Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg for The Studio, and The Studio racked up quite a bit tonight. Directing for a limited anthology series, Philip Barantini for Adolescence, and Adolescence cleaned up tonight as well, I'll tell you what. Directing for a drama series goes to Adam Randall for Slow Horses, another Apple TV Plus show. I thought Slow Horses was really good, the one episode I've seen of it, but Gary Oldman's in it, so I've been really thinking about going back and watching Slow Horses. So that's just another one of these shows that I need to check out, with that and Severance and possibly Adolescence. That's on Netflix, I believe. And if you haven't watched any of these shows, I guarantee go check them out. They're really good. Scripted variety series, of course, goes to John Oliver with Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. As always, I think he's won every single year for the last 8 years or something like that, they said. Writing for a drama series goes to Dan Gilroy for Andor, and this was Tony Gilroy's brother, but like, he was a very slow talker, cost the Boys and Girls Club money, but he was very, very good with the writing for Andor, and I just loved that Mon Mothma's speech and the, you know, all the little code, the spy talk, the we have friends everywhere, like, huge win for Star Wars, huge win for Andor, outstanding writing for Dan Gilroy. And then before this show, untelevised, they also won 4 other Emmys, you know, and 5 would be including the outstanding writing for a drama series, but a 5-time winner for Andor. Shout out Andor. Love that show. So good. Best Supporting Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series goes to Owen Cooper for Adolescence, becoming the youngest person to ever win an Emmy Award. And he gave a damn good speech. I think he's only like 15 years old. Shout out Owen Cooper. Might single-handedly make me want to go see Adolescence, but shout out to him and shout out the other cast and crew, because they also won Writer for a Limited or Anthology Series, Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham for Adolescence. Writing for a comedy series, Seth Rogen and his team for The Studio, won for writing. Best Variety Special Live, Saturday Night Live 50th, the anniversary special, won. So SNL 50 won an Emmy for their special, and it was pretty damn good. Writing for a variety series goes to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, 2-time winner for this year for John Oliver. Supporting Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series goes to Erin Doherty for Adolescence. So pretty much the entire cast of Adolescence has won, and writing and directing. Lead actress in a limited or anthology series goes to Kristen Milioti for The Penguin. I freaking love Kristen Milioti. I'm so excited for them that she won, and she deserved it. She was very much so deserving of the Emmy Award, especially for episode 4. If you guys know, you know. She crushed it in The Penguin, and I really want to see her back for The Batman Part 2, but if not, maybe The Penguin Season 2 for HBO. They are Emmy winners. They should maybe get another show. And, you know, as Sofia Falcone, she absolutely slayed this character, and all the looks were so gorgeous, and her actual look at the Emmys was gorgeous, and the speech she gave was beautiful, and the red dress she had on, she was so amazing, and just how much, like, personality she had. Like, giving her speech, she was like, oh my god, I love acting so much, and everybody in the crowd's like, yay, you know, like, oh god, she was so cute. But The Penguin won 9 total Emmys, with Best Score, Best Makeup, of course, for Colin Farrell's makeup, Best Actress for Sofia Falcone, Best Costumes, Best Hairstyling, Best Sound Mixing, Best Sound Editing, Best Prosthetic Makeup, which, so not only Best Makeup for maybe Sofia, but also the prosthetics for Penguin, Best Special Visual Effects. I didn't know there was a lot of visual effects in that show, but definitely Best Makeup, Best Score. Oh, Mick Giacchino, so Michael Giacchino's son, won an Emmy for the score, the sound mixing, the sound editing. This, one of the best parts of The Penguin is the score, so I'm very glad that that got recognized as well. But those type of awards don't get recognized at the, you know, live showing. Only the Best Actress got recognized, so it looks like at the live Emmys, The Penguin only won 1 Emmy, but no, it won 9. And I think they snubbed my boy Colin Farrell. Like, him getting put into that penguin suit, they gave him like the you know, the Hollywood one, the BAFTA or whatever, or the, you know, SAG-AFTRA award, but like, he deserved the fucking Emmy as well. So now we need to come back for a season 2 so Colin Farrell can get his fucking award. Fuck. Instead, lead actor in a limited or anthology series went to Stephen Graham for Adolescence, which, you know, probably worthy for it. He is a great actor, Stephen Graham. He also was a part of the writing team for Adolescence. But also the big thing with Adolescence was that, like, each of the episodes were an hour long, and they were all one take, you know, so they weren't like chopped up. Even though they might have been chopped and edited a little bit, it's still, from beginning to end, it's like one long episode, one long take of like straight through, instead of like, you know, having a conversation, cutting, going over to that person over there, cutting over there, going back over there. Like, time passes off screen through the cuts. I think one continuous day almost through the entire episode, through each episode. So, you know, just the actual how they made the Adolescence itself is very impressive. So maybe that's why they won so many at this award show, but it is what it is. The Outstanding Talk Show went to Stephen Colbert. Wow, what do you know? The lowest rated talk show just won yet another Emmy for his Outstanding Talk series. Not good in the ratings. Best in ratings show out of all of them. Not making money. Definitely a lie. You know, like, so they're just throwing Stephen Colbert off the air and canceling the late night show, and he's an Emmy winner yet again. You know, like, so one of the best late night shows out there, Stephen Colbert. So I don't think this is going to be that big a problem for him. I think he's going to stop doing the late night show for CBS, and I hope that motherfucker just goes and does his own CBS, you know, or not CBS, but you know what I mean, his own late night show, you know, at home. Do a podcast late night show. We would watch the Stephen Colbert YouTube channel more than we would watch the CBS Stephen Colbert late night show YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not there for CBS. I'm here for Stephen Colbert. Fuck CBS for firing him. Shout out the Emmys giving him an Emmy like he deserves. And shout out everybody giving Stephen Colbert a standing O when he presented, and then a standing O again when they won. So he deserved to cost the Boys and Girls Club money. Best Limited or Anthology Series went to Adolescence, saw that one coming. Best Comedy Series went to The Studio, saw that one coming. Best Lead Actor in a Drama Series went to Noah Wyle for The Pit, and he had been nominated a bunch of times for ER, and now he has won for his own show that he went and did with The Pit, and then the Best Drama Series went for The Pit as well. So The Pit won a few, and, you know, Adolescence, The Studio, but running through the 26 awards, Adolescence won 6, The Studio won 4, Hacks won 2, Severance won 3, The Pit won 3, John Oliver won 2, The Penguin won 1, Andor won 1, Soul Horses won 1, Somebody Somewhere won 1, Stephen Colbert won 1, Traders won 1, and SNL 50 won 1. Comment below your thoughts on the 77th Emmy Awards. I'm very excited for all of those winners. I love watching award shows like that and chatting, you know, and watching their speeches and hearing what they have to say and just, you know, watching little things like that I've always been into. So comment below if you're also into it and you want to talk winners or people that you thought maybe shouldn't have won. And, you know, I think Colin Farrell should have won for The Penguin. Other than that, I don't have any other, you know, particular sways. I think most of the people feel very deserving, although Adolescents maybe shouldn't have swept, but it is what it is. You know, they clearly were a very good show, and the studio as well was clearly a very good show. I've only watched, you know, I haven't seen Adolescents, I haven't seen The Pit, I haven't seen Severance, haven't seen Hacks, but I saw the studio, and that's on Apple TV Plus, and that is very funny. Very dumb, but also very funny. And very well done. So that's it for me, y'all. My name's Big Cam. If you want to talk more about what we talked about today in the weekly nerdy news, you can message me on my other social medias. Links for those down in the description below. 2 G's in the Big Cam, pretty much anywhere you find this face, you can find me. Thank you guys so much for coming on by. If you would like to support the channel, the best way to do that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future Comically Boston weekly nerdy news podcasts coming out on Mondays, and you get the notifications when those come out. Once again, my name is Big Cam, and I will see you beautiful people in the next one. Peace!